Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kim Barrett Show. I am your host, Kim Barrett, and on today's episode, we have Mr. Matthew Clark, LinkedIn lead generation. That's right. Now, of course, I asked him the hard question, like, what do you actually classify as a LinkedIn lead? I don't want none of these little DMs into my inbox. I don't want none of these little emails. I want the whole shebang. I want a full lead. We break down not only what does he classify as a lead, we break down how he actually goes about it and the process he uses in his business. If you've been someone who's been considering LinkedIn, I highly recommend that you check this episode out. And of course, if you need any help with your marketing, that's what we're here for. You can head over to mogulcall.com and we'll help you become a mogul in your industry. But until then, let's jump into LinkedIn.
Matthew, thank you so much for joining us, my man. Really appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Yep, what a cool intro. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Now, I always like to start off every single episode with the same question, which is, If I met you and we're hanging out at a party and I go, Matthew, what is it that you actually do? What's your go-to answer?
Yeah, so I like to keep it super simple. I help entrepreneurs get 2 to 5 high-value leads per day from LinkedIn without paying for ads.
I love that. Now, I do want to jump into this because I'm a paid guy, right? I'm where we do paid Facebook ads, paid Instagram ads. That's our jam.
Yep.
Now, I want to dive into that because I know you have a whole system behind it, but I want to dive in and look at it because the thing that always confuses me with LinkedIn is the classification of what people call things. So some people might say like 2 to 5 leads a day. And I go, cool, what do you classify as a lead? Because some people like, it's a connection request, it's a message, it's a this. And for me, a lead is like, cool, I have their name, email, phone number, and my team can pick up and call them because that's on the paid side. I know there's always different definitions, but for you guys, what do you classify that? And how do you kind of categorize, like when you say like a higher value lead again, like how does that, what's your definition kind of around that?
Excellent. Great question. I love this because not enough people are asking this question. And also it is exactly that. I mean, I was speaking to somebody the other day and they said, no, we're going to get you 3,000 leads a month. I was like, what? On LinkedIn? Whatever. You know, what's your ad spend on that? And so what we classify as a lead is something that is a high value lead specifically.
That's right, guys. This is COVID 2019, 2020. We know how to slack with the home offices. It's all good.
It's all good. Having a bit of a laugh here as well. Did you see that guy who was on the BBC and the kid walked in and he was like, get the F out of here, dude. We had a good laugh about that. But so yes, a lead that for us, what we qualify as a lead is somebody that has viewed our profile and our profile is targeted specifically to that ideal client. We've gone and specifically targeted that person. They viewed the profile. They see exactly how we can help them before we even talk to them. We've started off in a conversation. They've said, yes, I'm interested in talking to you more about this and how you can help me. And we've then said, can you please send me your contact details, name, email address. Well, obviously you don't need the name, but the email address and cell phone number. That's what we qualify a lead. So specifically targeted, they've given the details and they're like, please call me.
Awesome. That's cool. Cause that's to me is the same thing as like a lead. Is like, cause some people they're like, oh, they start the conversation with you. I'm like, but like, that's not a lead. That's like someone who has that's someone who's still checking me out. But if I have their details, because, you know, we've been looking at it. The reason I asked is selfishly, because we've been looking at other ways of diversifying our lead generation because we're heavy paid Facebook and Instagram. That's what we do. That's what we know. And of course, and referrals too. But for us, I'm like, okay, cool. If I can actually get leads, because people are like, oh, you know, I just charge $20 a lead. And I was like, cool. If you actually charge $20 a lead, I'm in. I'll take all the leads you have. And then they're like, no, that's someone that like we'll scrape them and then we'll email them and then they'll respond. And you've got to get their details. I'm like, that's still like that's just like I can do that myself. Like that's not a lead. That's like a barely interest. So I love that you have that level of approach. So you have those coming through. How do you find for companies where, for example, for my, like again, selfishly asking these questions,
let's ask it, man. Let's ask
the Kim Barrett Show, right? I got to get the info for me. But let's just say that I've got my business and I go, cool, I want to grow and I do want to go LinkedIn. I know the audience that I want to get, but I have a sales team that facilitate my sales calls. Can you, like, is it easy to transition your leads that you generate and go, well, look, hey, my team's going to reach out? Or do you find that has a negative effect if they're like, oh, well, I've checked out Kim's profile, Kim's info, and then you want to bounce me to someone else? Like, how do you find that experience for people?
So there's a couple of different strategies that you can use on that, because I also have a sales team. I don't take my own sales calls, and we've actually got a sales strategy that we use. So I'm never the first point of contact. In fact, one of my team members is running my profile for me. So for me, that just happens. And, I then say to them, look, I'm going to get Chantel on my team to just reach out to you and set up a time, and she'll then qualify them, make sure that they're a really good fit. And if they are, then they'll either speak to me or one of my other sales guys, right? Depending on what we've got going on. So it's pretty simple and pretty easy. And, I think the big thing is for us is that anything that we do, and LinkedIn is a bit different to Facebook and to some of the other channels, in the fact that you're having a much more personal conversation, a much more personal connection. And people want to feel like they're being talked to as a human, and, not just another prospect or another, dollar signs.
Yeah.
And so we like to keep that engagement and that connection high. So, we've actually gone and developed a system on how to take people from being connections into paying customers in the shortest period of time. And we use combinations of salespeople and video and email. So there's a beautiful little structure that we take people through. I love it.
That's awesome. And I love to hear that there is a structure to it, because that's always music to our ears, rather than, we do a little bit of this, we do a little bit of that. And because I'm always curious about it. Now, is there any businesses, I was going to say what businesses work, but what sort of businesses would you go, look, LinkedIn lead generation is probably not ideal for them? And then are there anywhere you go, look, this is it's an amazing tool for this type of business? Like, how would you kind of split those?
So it's interesting. There's different strategies. Okay. And if you're taking a look at, if you want to get direct clients, right? So if you're using LinkedIn as purely a lead generation and you're going directly for your ideal client, ones that are not a good fit is to try and fill large events, right? Not a good fit. If you want to do small events, 10, 15, 20 people, it's amazing, okay? Because you can build that high touch and you can make sure that you're bringing the right people in. I've actually got a really cool story on this a little bit later if you want to hear that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, what it's not good for is also selling low ticket item things. So if you're selling bottles of water, a bottle at a time, or if you're selling shoes, a pair at a time, it's not really going to be a good fit for you. But if you're selling, 10,000 bottles of water and you're looking for distributors and you're looking for large people to buy it, it's going to be a good fit. So always kind of look at it, and you've got to take a look at the time investment that you have to put into it as well, because it is more manual, it is more high touch, and you're building real relationships with people. You need to go in to build relationships. So I always say to people is that where it works the best is that if you need to have a face-to-face or a phone call or a one-to-one conversation with somebody, and you've got something that it's worth your time to go and spend that time on it, right? That's when it's going to be a good fit. But similarly, even if you've got smaller ticket items, or if your business doesn't rely on that face-to-face call, there are other ways that you can use it. So as an example, we've used it to get featured in, some of the major news stations by connecting with journalists, by sending them stories. So we've been featured in ABC, NBC, Fox, Forbes. We're busy with that at the moment. So there's some really cool stuff that's come out of it. We also it's a solid strategy that we use to get featured on podcasts. I believe my assistant actually connected with you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we use this in our business, but we also find JV partners, affiliates, suppliers, salespeople, so it depends what you want to go into it for. There's a lot of different strategies that you can utilize, and, we've tried them all and they all work. That's the beautiful part about it.
Awesome. I love that. And so let's say a business, so probably a lot of people that listen, they might have probably maybe information-based products, or they do services. So normally it's going to be a reasonable ticket where they're probably going to have a phone conversation to seal a deal and to see if they're going to be a right fit with someone. That's the case. And that's the case for us. And there's a case for a lot of the people listening. You're getting 2 to 5 leads per day. So over a month, give or take, that's going to be 60 to 150 kind of leads that come through. And you mentioned that before, obviously trying to get the process as fast as possible. From that just ballpark ratio, if you get those leads come through, what's the sort of percentage that would then go to having a sales conversation, and then percentage that would potentially take up a product or service as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Good. I love the questions, man. Great stuff. So I can see what you're doing is you're looking for your business though as well.
Of course, it's selfish.
The connection there, right? 100%. And so, how we look at it is that we have different strategies for different businesses depending on where they're at. Now, some of the clients that come in with us, they need a ton of leads. All right. I mean, we got a guy in Australia who does commercial financing and lending. And at a stage, we were delivering 140 leads a month for him. I mean, he closed over $50 million in finance in 6 months.
Wow.
Right. Crazy stuff. But we've also got other people who, they don't need those numbers. I mean, we've got clients that need 6 clients a year. They've got a multi-million-dollar business. Most of the people that we talk to, right? Sales is not their number one skill, delivering their product or services. So if they have like 4 or 5 extra clients in a month, that's a big deal, right? But typically how we look at it, I mean, and I can give you some examples today, is that we typically see on average, we've got a process that we take people through called the Rainmaker Power Hour. And 60 connections a day. So this is when we're doing it manually. So 60 connections a day for 30 days, and you spend 60 minutes doing that, right? So that'll give you about 1,800 potential connections, okay? We typically see about 6% of them on average will become Rainmaker leads, where they'll actually give you their contact details. So you have maybe 100, 108 people saying, yes, I want to talk. And out of that, that'll turn into sales conversations. You could have anywhere. I mean, we're booking on average 15 calls a week from that, on average. And then the sales rate is we have an average of a 67% closing rate from that because they're so specifically targeted and they've been qualified. So by the time they get onto the sales call, they're qualified, they know what they want. It's like the closing rate is super high. I mean, we've had days like on Wednesday, I had 5 sales calls booked and 4 of them became customers. And, the one guy was just like, I didn't watch the video and everything beforehand, but can we talk again next week so I can just go through everything? So, he's probably going to join as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So what would, like, for people listening to this and they're like, cool, LinkedIn sounds like it could potentially, even if they did it themselves or they hired someone like you to help them. And are you guys teaching this or doing it for people or both?
Yeah. So we teach it. So we've got two levels that we play at. So one is, here's the course, go and do it. Another one is where we do it with you. We've done the done for you model. And honestly, it's like, we always say you can't outsource something that is core to your business, right? Because and marketing is that. So it's like, nobody can move as fast as what you can in your business, right? And so especially when you're having those personal connections, like LinkedIn just works very differently to others. So we've tried the done for you model and it's okay. It's all right. But you never really get that quality that you're looking for when you know how to do it yourself.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, cool. So for people, what do I need to have together? So I've got to know, number one, I've got to have a pretty tight idea on who my target audience is so that I know who are the connections that I'm doing in my Rainmaker Power Hour. I'm connecting with those 60 people. So I need to know that. Once I've done that, obviously I must need to have some sort of at least non-spammy, terrible opening message that I send to people, right? Because it's like, I get like, literally, it's like, to be honest, I've never done LinkedIn well. And I've got like something in the realm of about 11, 12,000 connections. And I get a lot every single day. I'm literally just going to open my LinkedIn now and see if I've got a terrible opening message here.
More than likely you do. I get them every day as well.
Yeah. Oh, there was actually one. Let me show you this because I thought this one, I was like, posted it to my sales guys. And I was like, what do you guys think this guy did wrong here? I'll read you this exactly. So, and again, hopefully this is not the type of, I know it would not be the type of message that you would send to someone, but where is he? Here we go. So he said, hey, Kim, I hope you're staying safe out there. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm putting together a private online coaching program for established entrepreneurs who've battled high stress and weight gain and are now stuck at home, but want to use this time wisely to look great naked and optimize cognitive performance without leaving home. Wanted to touch base with you along with a few other connections before I open the doors to the public. Would you be interested in joining us or happen to know anyone in your network who would be a good fit? When I got this, I was like, number one, you just called me fat. And number two, you just said that I'm super highly stressed out. I'm like, hang on a second here. All right. Take it easy. All right. You have no idea if that's actually what my case is. So, and that's actually probably an okay message normally, but that part of it kind of lost out straight away. So, and I'm sure you've probably seen worse being in the space, but I mean, how do you actually craft a good opening message that's not terrible, sucky, and you don't insult someone?
Well, I think it really comes down to understanding who your ideal client is, first of all. And, if you don't have a clear idea of who your ideal client is, I mean, one of my favorite questions I ask people, who's your ideal client? My favorite answers rather is they're like, anyone that can pay me money. I'm like, well, that's not really much of a good start, but we can work that out. Okay. And so we've got a process that we take people through on really nailing down that ideal client. And honestly, like on LinkedIn, you know, you don't have all the targeting options that you've got on Facebook and Instagram, right? Where you can go into their psychographics and all the rest. They are very demographics. Boom, that's it. Which means that, you know, we typically look at 4 targeting criteria, which is what industry are they in? What is their job title? What is their geographical location? And what is their company headcount, which will determine, you know, because you can't target how much money they make, what kind of house or suburb they live in, you know, none of that stuff. And so from that, we then go deep into who that person is. What are their biggest pains and frustrations, the fears that keep them up at night, their goals and desires, dreams and aspirations, and really get to know them as people. And a lot of the time, what I do with my students when they come in is actually send them out to do market research and go and interview a bunch of potential ideal clients, and they're not allowed to make offers. Okay. What inevitably happens is that people say, okay, how do we work with you after this, right? It generates a beautiful amount of leads. And so we use that to craft the LinkedIn page. Okay. So the big thing, I mean, we've jumped a couple of steps ahead here, is that your page needs to be set up for conversions. All right. And so when people look at your LinkedIn page, instead of having an egocentric profile, which focuses all on you, because most people's profiles are written as a CV. Okay. And since we're focusing on you,
I was going to say, can you tell me, does mine suck? I'm pretty sure it sucks because I don't make it. I don't get any leads from it. I get a lot of connections and random people message me, but I definitely don't get as many people.
There is so much more that we can do with your profile. And, you know, we're working with a couple of ad agencies as well, because the cool thing is you guys can give people a real clear expectation of what they can get when they work with you. Right. And that's not being shown at all. And in your about section, you've written it all about you. So it's like, I'm the CEO. We've worked with these companies. Our services include, want to work with us. So we always look at it whenever there's too many I's, me, us, ours, you know, that kind of thing. We call it weeing all over your customers. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you know this from writing sales page copy and marketing copy as well. You've got to turn that into a sales page. So now when we start talking to people and we start sending a message, like an example of a connection message for me, well, before we even get to that, we've got to have a pickup line. And so that's what you asked me right in the beginning. What is your message to people? So at the moment, we're focusing on coaches, consultants, and advisors. So my pickup line is I help coaches, consultants, and advisors get 2 to 5 high-value leads per day through LinkedIn without paying for ads. Okay. And so people love that. There's a clear expectation. Here's how we can help you. Here's exactly what we can do. So first of all, when people look at my profile of coaches, consultants, and advisors, they're like, this is for me. Like, I need to talk to this guy. And then when I send the message out, my connection message will go something along the lines of this. Would be, you know, reaching out because I'm reaching out because I help coaches, consultants, and advisors get 2 to 5 high-value leads per day from LinkedIn without paying for ads. I've been working with coaches around the world, and we've seen some incredible results. We recently helped one coach increase their business by 10x in 1 year. Another consultant had an 800% increase in sales in 2 months, and another one did $60,000 in sales in 3 months. I wanted to know if you were looking for results like this, and if so, let's get on a chat, let's get on a call and see if there's a good fit and see if we can help you. Look forward to chatting.
Yeah, nice.
So it's a real, just like, dude, let's chat. Like, this is what we do. It's not even this what we do. It's like, this is our pickup. Here's our pickup line. Here's some results we help people get. If you want to get results like that, let's chat. There's no pressure. Let's see if there's a fit.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, I can see why work would be nice and simple. And as you say, if they've seen your profile, they've seen that, they know that that's what you do, and then they get that message, it kind of makes a lot of sense. Because that's always been the one that, and look, I've seen many people's programs and I've bought a few of them over time to kind of look at them. And a lot of the time, they just overcomplicate this. And to me, that's why it's like cool back burner. Someone like 5 years ago told me what to put on my LinkedIn profile, and that's what it looks like, why it does. And I've never gone back to it. But I literally get so many. And let me ask on the other side then. So that's, if I'm reaching out to people like that, do you do the same? If people connect with me and then they add me, do you do the same approach? Or is it anything slightly adjusted?
Yeah, so it depends. I mean, I would take a look at who they are first. And if it's a potential ideal client, then, then I'd reach out and have that sort of conversation with them. But if not, then I'd just ask them, hey, thanks for connecting. What did you see? What was your reason for connecting? Like, it's all straight up.
Yeah, nice, easy. This is very similar to what I do because I get the same on personal Facebook all the time as people add me. And my first thing is like, cool, thanks for that. How can I help you? It's like, because I know you must be adding me for help for some reason.
You saw me somewhere. What's up?
Yeah, cool. Nice. I like that. All right, cool. So people have those things in place. Now, is there anything else that they need to have? So they need to have obviously optimized profile. They've got to know who they're going for. They've got to have a nice killer opening line. And then from there, is there any other resource, tool, anything that they need to put together before they start going, cool, I've got all the pieces in place? Because you mentioned a little bit about some videos and bits and pieces as well. Do people need to build that out, or like what else do they's missing from their LinkedIn toolkit?
So in order to get set up and get going, that's pretty much it. You got to have your ideal client defined, your pickup line ready, your profile set up for conversion. Then you want to start building your authority, right? And you want to start connecting with people. You want to have your messages set up. So you've got your connection message, you've got your welcome message, and then you've got some follow-up messages as well. Have those prepared, okay? Know exactly what you're going in with. Know exactly what you want the conversations to look like, because 8 out of 10 will be exactly the same, okay? You'll get your 1 or 2 that are going to be slightly different, but that's why I've got someone else running my profile, is because it's 8 times out of 10 the same. And when it's not, they say, hey, Matt, I got this message. What do I say? And sometimes I'll take it over. Sometimes, they just continue with it. And then you need to start creating content, right? Now, I've been a bit naughty and haven't been creating as much content as what I should, but honestly, I've got so many leads coming in all the time. I'm like, I'm on sales calls so much, I don't even have time to create the content. So the content is there to give you leverage, right? It's important to post. I mean, I look at a lot of the guys who are killing it, a lot of the guys who are the experts on LinkedIn, and they post once a day. Personally, I don't have time for that. Or rather, let me rephrase that. I don't prioritize that, okay? Because there's time. I don't prioritize it. But, I post like once a week and I get some decent engagement, have a bunch of conversations, and inevitably some of them become clients. But then the next step is that you want to make sure that you've got an offer ready. Okay. You want to know what you're selling these people. You want to know, because it's one thing having a conversation, but where is this thing actually going? So make sure that you've got your offer ready, and make sure that it's something that is sexy, that is irresistible to people, so that it's not just a nice to have, it becomes a must have. Okay. And then you need to have a solid follow-up process in place, because if you don't follow up, I mean, the money is in the follow-up. 80%, I'm sure you know these stats, but 80% of salespeople give up after the first call, right? 80% of sales are made after the 5th call. We have high touch points. So you need a solid follow-up strategy in place, both on LinkedIn and outside of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay. So we make sure that, we've got all of that in place. But, honestly, even if you just started and started connecting with people using the strategy that I've just shown you right now, if you just started doing that, you'll get leads coming in, and you can worry about the leads off, how you manage them or whatever afterwards. Just get people on conversations and get going. I mean, that's the biggest thing I see is people are trying to build this whole massive thing out. And I'm like, guys, that's a later down the line thing. Get in, get going, start generating leads, worry about the rest when you cross that bridge.
Awesome. I love that. And I think that's so important. It's like, especially now for people, as I said, like where all these episodes that we're releasing at the moment are in the midst of the craziness of Corona that's going on. It's like, a day is kind of like a month at the moment. It's like, I've heard more from the Prime Minister of Australia in the last 2 weeks than I have ever. Right. And just like live streaming on Facebook and going crazy. It's like it's every day is like a month. So if you don't take action, and that's the biggest thing that I see when people go, because a lot of people go like, oh, cool. He's got Matt's got a program. I've got to do it. And then some people take it up and then they just don't take any action on it. I know for us, because we do training programs and whatnot as well, it's like, unless you're pretty much on people, it's like 20% of people won't take action. And you've already given them free tidbits just there, as you said, that will generate people leads if they just go and make those. But I betcha, and I challenge everyone, if you are on this, add myself and Matt on LinkedIn and prove us wrong, that all of you, only 20% of you will probably do something about it. That's about it, I reckon.
100%.
Yeah. So
and that happens all the time. It's so interesting. I was showing to one of our students the other day, and exactly on this, and he sent me a WhatsApp message and he's like, hey, Matt, how's lockdown going? How are things going in this time? I'm absolutely swamped with ideal clients. I've got too much business to actually take care of, and I wanted to know how you're doing. And I kind of just said to him, yeah, man, I'm nuts. I'm absolutely nuts. Our business is growing. We've got 1,000,001 things going on. And he said to me something. He's like, he actually joined us about a year ago, and he actually didn't even have the money to invest in the training. He borrowed it, right? And it's such a beautiful story. He's actually one of our biggest successes. He's now gone, and he said to me that, I'm so glad of the decision that I made a year ago, because right now, while a lot of people are struggling, my business is pumping. And I'm making, from going from zero, he's making like $1,000 a day in Aussie dollars.
Yeah.
Right? Just implementing the stuff.
Yeah.
Happy as, man. Happy as. It's lovely.
Yeah. No, that's epic, man. I love that. And so again, thank you so much for joining us today. I always like to ask one question as we get towards the end of our time, because there's been a lot of gold here for everyone. But what's one question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
I actually think you asked the great question in the beginning, is what do you consider a lead? Like, I think that one was power. That's the question that people don't ask that they should. So I think you have some really good ones. I mean, we covered a hell of a lot, and we had some power stuff going on there. Yeah, I'm really happy with the questions you asked.
Good, tick of approval. All right, no worries. That's so good. I like it. Well, that's easy. So Matt, for anyone that's listened to this and they've gone, cool, actually, I want to find out more about this Rainmaker process. I want to find out more about Matt and what his team's up to. What's the best place for them to connect with you and find out more about what you've got going on?
Yep, 100%. So definitely on LinkedIn. I mean, that's the obvious one. So Matt Clark SA, MATTCLARK SA. You'll see I'm wearing a blue shirt, a blue jacket and a white shirt, and it says, you've heard my pickup line, right? So it says that on there. And then also to our website. I mean, you can go to our website, www.thevirtualedge.com. And is it okay if I give them something for free? Give them a gift to get them going?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. So if you go to my website, thevirtualedge.com, you'll see on there, you can download a free training called the Mini Makeover, which will actually take you through the process of getting your profile set up for conversions. So everything we've spoken about right now, there's no excuse. Go and get it set up. And then after that, there's a 47-minute training that you can watch. There's no sale or anything like that at the end. You can book a call with us if you'd like to talk to us about how we can take you to that next level. But it's just pure value. So go and look at that, go and implement that. And you want to come and work with us, reach out, because that's what we're here to do to help you guys grow.
Awesome. I love that. So guys, wherever you're listening or watching this on Facebook or YouTube or podcast, wherever you're listening, just click through, check out the show notes. We'll have all the links there so you can click through and check all of that out. And if you know someone else who needs to grow on LinkedIn and needs to hear this episode, make sure you share this episode with them as well. Matt, my man, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. It was an awesome show, Kim. Really, really cool. Thank you.
My pleasure, my man. We'll see you soon.